Yesterday's feature, the Livamol Classic, lived up to its Group 1 $250,000 billing as they jumped from the 2,040-metre start point. George, today you're on replays, and Luke, you can do sort of serious analysis.
I'm just here for the Masara report.
It's your go, mate.
Yeah, well, look, it was a fantastic race, I thought, but coming up to a very interesting part of the race here, Luke, as they went out of the straight the first time.
You're right, you can see Dan Stands, the grey horse midfield on the inside. She was trying to get one off there, and she's kind of got leaned on by a bigger horse on her outside. I think it was Hello, It's Me.
Stablemate.
Yeah, and so she's gone back to the inside. That wasn't good for her. And meanwhile, you can see Savvy Cope, 3 wide with the red cap, white body, near the back of the field. Critical point there now, Savvy Cope gets in. Scott Base, basically, the pace went on, Scott Base came back a little bit, and don't criticise Vinnie Colgan for that. He did the right thing. His best chance of winning the race was to get on Savvy Cope's back, but it basically also won the race for Savvy Cope.
The race panned out beautifully for Savvy Cope from here on, and when the two horses in front, Big Mike and Sandy Million, went along, they really increased the tempo and rolled them along. That allowed Chris Johnson to just take a hold of Savvy Cope, and she was pretty well relaxed and in a perfect spot to take advantage.
For her, she still managed to get up on the chewy.
She still pulls a bit, doesn't she?
She does.
But the beauty of her victory, I thought, was the fact that he still had to go early. He had to get out, and from in behind those horses, on the inside there, dance. This is just where it all goes wrong for her.
He's out, off and gone on Savvy Cope now. Got pushed out there 4 wide too, coming down the side. On his back is Scott Base. Vinnie Colgan did the right thing, followed Savvy Cope into the race. Opie Boston on Al Aberdeen was trying to do likewise as well. Have a look at the run of Dance. He gets held up all the way up the home straight, basically. But the winner was a thoroughly deserved Group 1 winner. She was too good for them yesterday.
No doubt. I think, as I say, if Dance ends up 1 off and Savvy Cope 3 wide without cover, Savvy Cope might still win because she was the best horse in the race. But it would have been close.
Livamol, nice run from her too. You know,
that was projected beforehand.
Yeah, late entry into the race by the Baker Forsman team, and you know, she's got up there and finished second, another Group 1 place.
George, I thought the best performance I saw in New Zealand last season was Scott Base in the Karaka 3-year-old race. He hasn't come back.
I was fascinated yesterday when the team had Jason Waddell on prior to the running because of his horse being scratched. Windspell was scratched out of the race, out of the Livamol. And he made the comment, I thought it was a great comment too. He says he believes that Scott Base is not the same horse that way around at Hawke's Bay.
Okay, that's interesting.
And he just thought that the horse wouldn't win. He thought he'll either be 4th or 5th. He ended up running 4th yesterday, so he summed it up beautifully.
He gave him a pass back. I think it was actually good added value on the coverage yesterday. I thought Jason Waddell just that last minute, thanks to Windspell being scratched. Of course, an emotional outcome and result for Team Pittman, and it wasn't just Team Pittman who got all teary after that project was justified yesterday.
Yeah, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but when she ran second the other day, we were so confident, you know, she's not a 1,400 metre or a miler, you know, she's an Oaks filly, and you know, she ran second to probably the best sprinter miler in the country and was taking ground off it. Chris was adamant he thought she should have won the other day, but hey, I was wrapped around second. Big thrill this, I tell you.
Yeah, a classic winner, a 3-year-old of the year, and back as a 4-year-old weight for age winner. She's really a special filly, isn't she? Yeah, well, I heard some people saying I give her too much at 3, but they don't know how we train them. You know, we don't do much with them in between. And, you know, it's great to be a good 3-year-old and come back as a 4-year-old. Bring on the Cox plate.
Yeah, I don't think I might not get there myself, but the horse will.
Yeah. Obviously that sort of says that, you know, you've had a tough time, and I guess that makes it all the more special.
Yeah, someone said to me before the race, was I nervous? I'm more nervous about Monday than today.
Okay, well, we know what it means to you. What about to Matt back home and the team back home behind this horse?
Well, he's got plenty of time to enjoy it because he's not at Riccarton races, but, man, a massive team effort. You know, my wife came up last Friday, a week before the race, because I don't think I've ever raced a horse in a more important race in my life, you know. I'm having an operation. I've said all the way through that if we win the Livamol, we're going to the Cox Plate. Geez, it wins the South Island, we're ever running the Cox Plate.
The racing industry behind you. Best of luck for next week.
I know what you're saying, and I appreciate how much support I've had.
Yeah, wonderful emotion after the race there, and of course we know what he means when he says I'm more nervous about Monday, but we shouldn't assume that everyone does. So by way of very brief backstory, for those who don't know, Michael Pittman, who's kind of the doyen of South Island racing, for so many years he's kept so many race clubs and meetings afloat with the teams that he's brought to it. diagnosed with bowel cancer earlier this year. I think it was in about February or March or something before the Oaks. Been through chemo, been through radiation therapy as well, I understand. He's going into surgery on Monday to remove a tumour, and this, at a time when his mortality is never more resounding in his ears, has also coincided with him getting the best horse of his career.
And he's always believed in her too, you know.
Yeah.
You could see the emotion there. It was fantastic to see, and we wish Michael and everybody in the racing industry wishes him all the very best for Monday.
It was widespread too, because I mean, you know, Ray Copeland hasn't been the healthiest either. And Gary Chittick, who obviously had a part in breeding the mare, he was quite emotional, just being, you know, I guess being asked after the race about the connection with the breeding of the horse and selling her at the sales for $60,000.
Right.
But he was overwhelmed with the fact that of sort of joy that they'd done the job.
I think everyone's happy for Michael Pittman. It's a neat story and a great result. It's also a springboard, because I kind of felt this was a return to form for the race as much as anything. The last 5 or 6 winners of the race are not exactly a who's who of equine greats, with no disrespect to them. And it shows in the fact that the last 6 years, none of the winners of this race have gone on to Australia in their spring campaign. Before that, 11 of the previous 12 used this as a springboard to Australia. And that's what this race should be, a good end in itself, but also a platform for a Cox Plate, a Caulfield Cup, something like that. So I'm so happy she's going over there.
So now is the winner good enough to challenge for the Cox Plate? I mean, it's fantastic that she's going.
Of course it is. And of course, and I'm not urinating on the parade to say that she can't beat Winks. We all know that, unless something goes drastically wrong with Winks. And it would be easy to say, well, aren't there better options? There's the race that was always known as the Maya Classic with the fillies and mares, that's $500,000. There's the McKinnon, that's $2 million. There's the race that's known as the Cantala or something now, is $1 million. This is a $5 million race. Now, Winks is going to suck up $3 million of that, but I think you treat it like a $2 million race, forgetting about Winks. And outside of Winks, it'll be one of the weakest Cox Plates in many, many years. She can absolutely run a race in it. I'm not saying she could win, I'm not saying she'd necessarily finish within 3 or 4 lengths of Winks, but I admire them for going and I admire them for trying, and I think it's the right thing.
So, Jules, if Humidor got pretty close last year to Winks, do you think she could sort of run that sort of race? Because you get the feeling that Moonee Valley and the style of that race will suit her style.
Will suit Sevy Cope's style,
yeah,
absolutely. They'll run along at speed, and that just takes her off the nickel a bit, you know, because she can fire up, as we've seen in her races. It'll be interesting to see if they retain the Magic Man, would they?
Yeah, he's
of course. I don't know, but
he just about fell off, you know, with excitement coming back to scale yesterday. you don't actually see Chris Johnson that excited about much. No. He just gets the job done. But
he's got a great backstory in itself, and it was beautifully profiled on trackside last year.
Is there a doubt that he can cope with that sort of race?
No. He's the most...
Because often when the New Zealand horses go over there, bam, the Kiwi jockeys off and they throw on the local.
Well, and I can understand that.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, if he were taken off, I wouldn't.
He won't be, but...
He won't be.
Can he cope with the
But you wouldn't criticise him, but he'll be just fine. He's ridden in masses of big races, and this is a big one. He'll ride the same as he'd ride a maiden at Reefton.
It's water off a duck's back to him, I think.
I think so. Actually, Michael Pittman asked a good question, just digressing for a moment. When's the last time a South Island horse raced in a Cox Plate?
Can you claim David Welsh as a South Island jockey? Solve it?
Maybe solve it. Well, look, you could go New Zealand, South Island breds, you could go to the Phantom Chance.
Yeah.
But I was trying, I went back to 1983 and I might have overlooked something. I couldn't find a South Island trained horse in the Cox Plate. So you go back a long way. So I think it's a neat story in many ways.
We were talking last week with Hayden Tinsley and he pointed it out, and it happens when you're a broadcaster and you do stories on horses prior to races. Sometimes it's just not all about the odds.
Yeah.
It's not all about who's the favourite, who gets the form pro ticks. It's about a wee bit of storyline. And, you know, it just came together yesterday for Sevy Cope. Yeah. And, you know, no one's saying that she's going to, you know, beat Winks, but, you know,
one of the
just
runs in the race yesterday was Dance Dance. And
yeah,
of course, absolutely.
And, you know, I thought her effort yesterday, she was held up. We can see this on this replay once again. She's back equal last, turning in. Wall of horses in front of her, nowhere to go.
Could Danielle have done anything different?
Hard to say.
Your analysis, mate.
At first glance, I thought yes, because she ended up against the rail. But when you see the way it played out, I don't think too much. And I think you can't say she was unlucky to be beaten, because if things had turned out differently and Savvy Cope had been beaten by Dan Stans, we'd be saying Savvy Cope, if she'd set 3 wide without cover and run second, we'd be saying she was a moral beaten. So they've finished kind of in their appropriate order. Or maybe Dan Stans deserved to run second.
That was some ask of that horse to get up and run second there, or third there.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Michelle Bradley, I spoke to her this morning with regards to Dan Stans dance. They're going to put her out for a couple of days. That was their #1 target for the season, that race yesterday. On the back of just one race. It was a pretty good training feat by her and Chris. And
Absolutely.
She must win a Group 1. She was so unlucky repeatedly last year. It's got to be coming.
OK, so what happened out there for the beaten runners, and what happens next? The ones we caught up with after the race included Murray Baker.
Obviously, Michael Pittman's mare's just right in the zone. A terrific performance by her, but we got home well, second up, and first start over ground. It was pleasing.
Yeah, a really big improvement from that first up run. What do you do with her now?
Probably wait for the Weight for Age race at Auckland at the start of Melbourne Cup Day, I think, so she can have an easy time until the end. But no, I thought it was a very good effort.
It was a tough run, obviously. We didn't expect her to get shuffled all the way back there on the turn to near last. But wow, what an experience to be in a Group 1, first of all, amongst an amazing group of horses. And to get third is just, we're thrilled. We're thrilled. Onwards and upwards for her from here. There's no plan set yet, but I think we're just all thrilled that second up, she's managed to get her third in a Group 1.
Yeah, happy, very happy. Look, I got a lovely run. I followed Savvy Coop the whole race. Look, she was just a bit sharp for us. When she took off at the 600, I was a little bit flat keeping up with her. But a lovely run for fourth.
I thought it was a good run. We didn't have many options from the draw, which probably made us get back a little bit. But if she drew a barrier, I think she would have been a lot closer.
And on a personal note, how's the body been and how's the first day?
I'll definitely improve with the run, but now looking forward to the rest of the season.
Yeah, he didn't run bad, stepping up from bottom of the minimum handicaps up to Weight for Age. He stuck on quite nicely for 6, but just raced a little bit fierce early and didn't quite finish it off the way I like.